Hey, I'm Josh with Walkers, and this week we're going to be getting the old deer gun on paper and zeroed for your hunt. So if you didn't see last week's video, we walked through putting the scope on the gun, new scope on the gun, and we walked through that process. So if you've got a new scope, jump on back to last week's video and check it out. And then this week we're going to be getting you on paper quickly so you're not burning a bunch of this expensive hunting ammo. We want to make sure that it's quick, easy to get your gun zeroed so you've got all kinds of confidence as it relates to getting out to the field and bagging a whitetail this year. We've got an unloaded gun, right? And I've actually pulled the bolt out of the gun already because our process is simply lining the gun up on paper through the barrel. So that's our first step. I'm gonna get the barrel lined up on the gun, on the target, in about the center. So I gotta bring the back of this gun up just a hair. So I've got the barrel basically where our bullet's going to go, centered up right on that target. And so now what I need to do is I need to make scope adjustments in order to bring the scope down to that level. So jump behind the gun and I can see that I've got probably about a foot left and a foot up in order to correct this thing to make sure that the scope and the barrel line up. So I'm gonna make that adjustment. So at this point now, I know that I will be on paper when I fire a round down there. And so that's sometimes the hardest part, is getting on paper so that you can make your minor corrections to actually zero the gun. So we probably save 10, 12, 15 rounds by just making sure our barrel and scope are aligned good enough to get us on paper so we can make those final corrections. And you'll notice I've got a chronograph here on the shooting bench as well. So one of the things that I've noticed is some folks will shoot some inexpensive or not very high quality ammo from time to time, and then they're chasing on zero, right? So if you have a huge spread, meaning like one round's moving pretty slow, the next round's moving really fast, you're gonna have challenges as it relates to zeroing the gun. When I zero, I bring a chrono just to make sure everything's dialed. So we're close. I'm a couple inches left and at about the right elevation. So I'm gonna bring it right. We got a little lucky on that bore sight that it's that close. Typically on paper is about as good as you're gonna get. Awesome, so getting this thing bore sighted on the front end, basically just lining up the bore with the scope, right? So that you know you're on paper and can make minor corrections, helps us drive costs down considerably. The other thing we're doing is we're shooting a budget friendly but super high end ammo with this Federal Fusion stuff. So great bullet, really nice disruption. Nice and consistent as it relates to velocities and accuracy. So again, keeping costs in line, shooting an affordable bullet is really gonna help you get this thing dialed in without costing you an arm and a leg. Awesome. So with bore sighting, making sure that the barrel is lined up with the scope, simple as that, not actually throwing any rounds. Then loading the gun and getting that fine adjustment made, we're able to zero this thing in less than half a dozen rounds, right? So 3 shots and I'm on. Doesn't always work out that smooth, but for sure you should be inside of a box ammo, right? And so nice, easy, simple way to get your bore sighted without using a laser or some tool. Like if you can pull the bolt out and you can see directly down the barrel, you can line the barrel up with the scope and be good to go. If this added value for you, jump in below and subscribe. We've got content like this coming out on a weekly basis. If you've got a different technique that you use as it relates to zeroing guns, getting scopes mounted, that kind of thing, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Always curious to see what everybody else is doing. Till next time, have a good week.